Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley, aka Señorita Spanish, and today we're going to be talking about different activities, different strategies you can use when you're teaching La Familia and Familia vocabulary in your novice Spanish classes. Remember, if you're new here, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell so that way you're notified of all new content that I create for you. All right, let's get started. Just to remind you that if you're watching and you have a question, don't forget to drop me a comment and just let me know. I will put links to everything in the description of this video, like always. So the first strategy I have to share with you is called special person interviews. Special person or persona especial is from Bryce Hedstrom, and this is something that I include as a part of one of my daily routines. I have a whole blog post where I detail all of my daily routines, and I will link that for you in the description of this video. Once a week, we pull up one student in front of the class and we interview them. They're our special person, they're our star student, whatever you want to call it. But I ask them a series of questions. And so one of those questions, and usually a focus of our discussion, is asking them about their family members. So, if they have brothers and sisters, or how many brothers and sisters they have, or if they're close to their cousins. All of that sort of stuff kind of tends to come out in these sorts of interviews, so it's a really good way to get a lot of vocab practice every single week. Another option is to include family vocabulary when you're telling stories in class. So one of my favorite stories that I have is about this girl who's trying to get ready for school, and she can't find what she needs in order to go to school. So she's running around asking this family member, like, have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you seen it? And in the course of that story, she talks to a lot of different family members. And so we practice that as we're doing this story. Just a really simple kind of sneaky way to get this family vocabulary in for my students in a story that always makes them go, "Ugh," at the end of the story because of how it ends. I will link that story for you in the description of this video as well in case you want to check that out. Another great option that is actually also one of my daily routines is picture talk. To do a picture talk with family-centered photos. So I don't know if you've ever heard of it. awkwardfamilyphotos.com is a great resource for this because you can find pictures that are, well, they're awkward. And so they're pretty compelling to look at and talk about. You could have students go search and find photos, or you could have students bring in photos of their own families that they are comfortable with sharing, if that's something that they're comfortable sharing. You could bring in your own photos of your own family. They might really enjoy seeing pictures of you like growing up, or like younger awkward photos of you. So just bring in photos that have family members in them and then talk about them. I will also link in the description to my blog post on picture talk in case that's not a strategy that you're familiar with. Another option for you is gallery walks. And if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I love a good gallery walk. I have a couple of videos on how to use gallery walks and different ways to kind of reuse the materials from gallery walks, but this one is specifically for family, so I wanted to make sure that I showed it to you and I talked to you about it. It's something that I include every single year and I really like it. So basically it starts with one character and then he is describing all of his family members. And as you see down here, there's some support for the students because there are some words included that they just might not be familiar with. So then there's some comprehension activities and different things that we do with this set of readings. Another option that's just a really simple way to include family vocabulary in your classroom is to turn one of your bulletin boards into a classroom display. So whether it's with your own family or a famous family that your students are into right now, or a family from like a TV show or something like that, just make a big family tree with all of the characters or with all of the members and label them with the appropriate vocabulary words. Super simple, just a way to get them more familiar with the vocabulary. A really specific resource that I have used in the past that's really enjoyable and really engaging for my students is based around a commercial for juice. And the concept is like, oh no, someone drank the juice. And so it shows all these family members and they're like, who did it, who done it kind of thing. There's some resources that I have that go with that. That's kind of a close activity. Kara Jacobs is the one who shared that resource with me in the first place. It is so fun. We are almost there. I have a lot of things for you. But my next one is called Corre en Círculos. And if you haven't seen me talk about this before, it is one of my all-time favorite activities. Like gallery walks and Corre are kind of, I don't know if I could pick between them. But anyways, it's like a scavenger hunt. So your students have things hung up on the walls and they look at the prompt, they write their answer to the prompt, and then they go find the answer somewhere around your room. Lots of movement. I have options for doing it digitally. I have options for doing it where they're not moving because, well, depending on your school's procedures or your policies right now, that might not be an option. So I do have variations where they're not moving around the room. But anyways, with the family corre en círculos, they're reading a description that's kind of like a riddle of a family member, and they have to write down the family member that's being described in that riddle. The next two options are puzzles. So this first one is, I call these grid puzzles. I don't know what anybody else calls them. And this is actually just a free download on TPT. I will link to it in the description of this video below. But you cut out all the pieces, and then the way that students do it is they line up this and this, this and this, this and this to make, right, the whole square. Super simple. It's a great fast finisher option for your students, or maybe a warm-up activity or part of a station. Super great option. The second puzzle is called a Labyrinth. As students make their choices of their answers, it gets through the maze. And a really great option you can use as a fast finisher, a homework assignment, warm-up, quiz, race. There are 10 different ways you could use maze games. I have a blog post on that. I'll link it for you in the description as well. Okay, the last option I have for you, I just called these conversation cards, and essentially all they are is cards with questions on them about the topic that we want to practice. They are one of my favorite speaking activities for students. So like this one just says, ¿Cuántos primos tienes? So they would just draw a card, they'd ask the question, and everyone around the group would answer, or if you're doing it in pairs, they just take turns drawing and asking. It helps them not be so awkward when you say like, hey, be in a small group and talk about family. They're like, you know. Yeah. So this gives them a very supported way to discuss family members. These are great for stations. If you wanted to do a speaking station, these would be a really good choice for that. So there you have it. I think that was 10 ways you could practice family vocabulary with your students. It might have been 9, it might have been 11. I lost count. Who knows? I will put links to everything in the description of this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment. If you liked this video, remember to give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows you liked it. But also, if you haven't, please make sure you click subscribe and then ring that bell so you get notified of all new videos that I create. I will see you in the next one.